All right. We are live. Welcome to the Greyhawk channel here with the City of the Gods. We're excited to bring you some of the original Blackmoor setting here using the Open Legend RPG system, which you can actually find on openlegendrpg.com. All the rules there to follow along with what we're doing. But we want to go ahead and do a special thanks to all of our supporters and our sponsors. First and foremost, thanks to all of our patrons and all of the Twitch subscribers. You guys are awesome and allow us to do what we're doing, bringing all this awesome content. There's like 20 different shows this summer season, I think, something like that. A lot of stuff going on, at least 2 shows a day on the Greyhawk channel. So very thank you. Very thank you. That's good English there. Big thank you to all of you for that. And of course, we want to thank Roll20. We're supported by Roll20. You'll be seeing the use of the tabletop right there with the rolls as well as the map. It's an awesome. It's one of the leading virtual tabletops out there, and you can do a whole lot with it. We're also sponsored by Heroic Maps. A lot of the shows you'll see, a lot of the battle maps that are used are that. We'll probably end up using a few of them in the show, but I also have a lot of the original map images from the City of the Gods module, so we'll be utilizing those as well. But Heroic Maps has like over 300 maps on DriveThruRPG, so make sure you swing by and check out their vast library of maps there. And of course, Tabletop Loot, you can visit them at tabletoploot.com. And if you enter in Greyhawk in the coupon code box, you can get 15% off any of your dice orders. They've got a ton of dice over there, lots of cool stuff. And if you are a patron supporter or a Twitch subscriber, you can get coupon codes to Rue Ink and Cantrip Candles in the private section of the Discord. So definitely head over to our Discord. By the way, it is open to the public. There are private areas on it for those of you who are patron supporters and Twitch subscribers, so you can get access to that code to utilize. So just a quick thank you to all of them, and we'll go ahead and do a little around and introduce everybody. We've got our missing adventurer from last week who was unfortunately sick. So we'll go ahead start with you. You can introduce yourself and a little bit about your character, which people got to somewhat briefly see there. So Eris, go ahead. Who are you?
Hello, good morning. I am Eris Savad. I normally make a lot of stuff, including dice trays and bags. I also play a lot of games. And today I am playing Talia, who is, she's a very excitable and excited arcane historian who likes archways and doorways, and she tends to look for a lot of different old things. We'll just say that. You know what? I think that I'm going to leave a lot of it for everybody to discover while we're playing. But
Definitely.
she is certainly excited to be about 3,000 years in the past, and she during last game, I imagine she's been checking out every doorway they come through, since the last one she went through was a portal. So she's like, oh, does this one have arcane symbols on it?
Very cool. And then we have Time Bust.
Hi, name's Boyle. I'm still playing as Luthka, the orc, sort of druid, barbarian, ranger. So that's still going well, I think.
We forgot about a little friend that was tagging along with Luthka, but they were there the whole time.
Yeah. Nothing in the previous stream contradicts Luthka's companion hog being there.
Yes. So that's Glomus, I believe, is the name of your companion friend there. Very cool. So we'll get to see a little bit more of that, and we'll catch up with what's going on. But then we've got Casey.
Howdy, good morning. I'm Casey, KCH on social media, and today I am playing Roach, your salty neighborhood necro ninja.
Short and sweet. And then we got the Sword Master.
I noticed you went in ABCD order. I appreciate that. Hi, everyone. Good morning. I am Derek Sword. You can find me on Twitter at DSword16. I will be playing again the Golden Dragonborn paladin fighter protective character who is in service to Talia's family and tries to watch her back as she is studying doorways so ever closely.
And I guess I should introduce myself too. I am Great Mustache. I am the DM of this game, and you can find me on Great_Mustache on Twitter and The Great Mustache on Twitch, where I sometimes stream some additional Open Legend RPG stuff. And yeah, that's all about me. Not too exciting. I've got a mustache, by the way. I don't know if you noticed that. So we'll get started. I think Casey's gonna do a recap for us. What happened last time? What craziness?
Well, let me tell you about what happened last time. It goes like this. Our story did not begin in a tavern inn, but rather it began beneath one with Talia, a young elf scholar, and her protector, a golden dragonborn called Orion. Talia and Orion had been informed that there was something of interest in the roughly carved basement of this strange place, an artifact in the form of an archway. Meanwhile, a shadowy figure slithered into the stable of the Comeback Inn. Orion sensed an aura of death long before he ever actually laid eyes on Roach. When she finally revealed herself, he threatened trouble if she didn't turn around. From her spot of safety, upside down on the ceiling, she warned him that she had information he would want to know. Roach wasn't the only thing that had crawled in from outside, though. It seemed that on her way through some vegetation that morning, she'd stepped on some rare flora, which had caused the orcish shapeshifter known as Luthka to mark her as an enemy and follow her in a hunt for justice, parentheses, or who avenges that which cannot avenge itself. Now Luthka came out from around the corner, and a confrontation began, resulting in Roach turning invisible and the orc turning into a polar bear to swat at the ceiling in blind irritation. Feeling like she'd already pissed everybody off with minimal effort, Roach tells Orion that the place is being surrounded by the Company of the Silver Coin, and that he and the others were more or less doomed. That's the point at which the artifact Talia had been examining began to activate. The space beneath the archway became a smoky portal. Hearing the bandits closing in down the hall, Talia stepped through and vanished. Speaking had also given Roach's position away to Luthka, so, still a polar bear, she body slammed Roach, sending them both flying through the portal after the elf. Orion was the last to pass through, as Talia's well-being was his charge, and he was nothing if not a dragon man who took his job seriously. On the other side, it was the Comeback Inn, but newer. 10 armed men had 6 crossbows and 4 swords pointed right at their position. Fortunately, no one was hurt, as one of the men went to fetch the Fitch. Who was the Fitch? What happened to the rest of the Fitches? These are the things the party wondered as they were led to a table to have everything explained. The Fitch told them they'd traveled about 3,000 years into the past. It was still Blackmoor, though, and while they did possess the means to send the party back from whence they came, it would come at a price. The Fitch proceeded to tell a story about a big flying silver egg that could fit 12 people inside, packed with items of immense magical power. He mentioned the Order of the Frog, and he talked about a floating city called the City of the Gods that the Order of the Frog had linked to the egg. There was a lot of information, but the party was able to pick up that the Order of the Frog are the bad guys, and they're building an army. Also that they're interested in the kind of potent magics that were found within the egg, and the Fitch wants to enlist aid from the City of the Gods. They'd tried to contact the place before to ask for help in a war, but most of the messengers were slain upon arrival, and the rest ran away with their lives. Now they want to try to send us to make contact, hoping the city can be persuaded to help in the upcoming fight against the frogs. Presently, the short-term goal is to head into the plains of the Eastern Hack to see the silver egg thing and talk to the fellow who found it, Garny Binbo. Specifically, we may need to find and talk to the Baron of Dragonia in order to find Binbo. If getting back home to the proper time wasn't enough motivation, the party was promised 5,000 gold each on their successful return, and they would get to keep whatever magical items they find. Now they've been urged by the Fitch to rest up in preparation for their journey, and I believe that is where we left off.
Yes. So, of course, with Talia not actually being, Talia's player not actually being present, we're still talking to the Fitch. There's a few more things that he's going to relate to you all here in just a moment. But any other questions that you guys might have or direct towards him, that's something that you can do. So, yeah, we fade in. Actually, let me... I'll have to... Did I save everybody's new tokens? I hope so. So yeah, let's jump over to the inn where we presently find ourselves. The camera kind of pans in from an overhead view, seeing the tables as I'm zoomed in way too far for me. So let's see. Yeah, we're down here. Presently, the bear, Luthka, is in the stable where they are being fed and taken care of. Luthka has decided to remain in bear form, concerned that in orc form they may not be as welcomed by the locals, despite... I didn't fix that. I didn't fix the thing on layout. You're still playing as yourself, Derek. I need to fix that layout thing. But Orion went and talked to Luthka. So presently we see Roach, we see Orion, and Talia all at a table around the Fitch. There are others in this tavern right now, of course. There's some of the guards and some of the soldiers around, but you guys are all here presently. So... Are there any questions you'd like to ask of the Fitch before he continues with his discussion with you all?
Talia wanders over from where she was examining a window nearby, and she says, I heard, I was wondering, I know that you said you were obviously waiting for us, right? Have any other visitors come through that portal?
Why, yes. We've had 2 other major occasions where we've had visitors through the portal. It's an interesting device that seems to pick individuals of interest to bring to us.
Does it happen when you're like in a time of need? And she currently has a book out, and she is taking notes with a quill that she had behind her ear. You can see she's quickly scribbling notes, and she's got probably 3 or 4 lines of fresh ink of just it's so small you can't even really read it.
Go ahead and roll for me your persuasion or your presence.
Okay.
See how much he might reveal to you.
Oh,
6
not very
and
much.
1. Very nice. So yeah, he kind of regards you a little bit. Basically says, Yes, during times of need, the archway will be activated so that we can seek the aid of others.
Oh, that's quite interesting. Thank you so much. How what? How long ago was it last activated?
So it's been some time.
Vague. And she said, "Who came through? Would I have heard of them?"
You may have heard of them, but for their anonymity, I will not reveal their names.
Oh, all right. Just fine then. And she continues writing.
And he kind of looks at the rest of you, seeing if there are any other questions that you might have.
Can I have slipped away stealthily and like you turn and I'm behind the bar just rifling through everything?
Yeah, there is like a person back there who could get you drinks if you so desired, but you can go straight behind the bar and try and rifle through.
I will do so.
All right. So yeah, they look at you as you come back there. You didn't attempt to go invisible or anything.
Nah,
Okay.
I figure they're asking for my help. This place might as well be mine now.
Sure. Yeah. So he looks over towards the Fitch when you come back there, and seems to let you rummage through so that you can find all of your stuff that you want. There's a pretty decent selection back here. It seems to be an active enough in this time period to have well stocked.
I'm gonna stay here and mix myself a fancy drink while
All right.
observing.
You do so. And as you're doing that, the Fitch continues to talk to Orion and Talia here. He ends up, he had just mentioned somebody named Brother Fitch, or not Brother Fitch, he's the Fitch. Brother Richard, that would be joining you on this particular foray into the unknown. So... and he mentioned, just to remind you, a wizard by the name of Basario, who is going to be at the location that you're going to be going to at Binbo's Hectare. And so, yeah, he introduces Brother Richard as the Flying Monk, and a portly fellow walks in. He's kind of balding on the top, but he's got long hair. He carries a mace at his hip, and yeah, he nods and regards you all as he is introduced, so that you're aware of his presence. And then the Fitch continues on, and he hands each of you a ring, and then puts 2 more rings on the table as well. They're gold rings, and he says, these rings, of course, are magical, and they're part of a set, so make sure you do your best to bring them back safely. Each ring can hold up to 3 teleport spells, and currently they each hold 2 that we've had our magicians and our wizards imbue into them. The first spell is going to take the wearer to Binbo's Hectare, which is, of course, where your mission is. And then the expedition will depart from there once each of you has had a chance to examine the egg. And the second spell will bring you right back to this very room. You use that one to make your return journey once you've attained your objective, or decided that there's no hope at doing so if you need to escape. Do be careful not to get the spells mixed up, of course. We won't want you go into the wrong location. And it took Robert the Bald quite a lot of trouble to cast them, of course, considering the great distances involved in the travel. Now, let me impress one more thing upon you. These rings are a loan. Of course, we trust that you're going to return them back to us, but should you try and keep them, you'll find that we've put steps into these special rings that would end up cursing you rather nastily. So, one of the rings he kind of slides over and says, now this should be able to be placed upon the bear, since it seems to be your companion, and it should resize itself to fit accordingly. So that shouldn't be a problem, I imagine.
Right, yeah.
So worst case scenario, can we just have the bear swallow the ring?
I wouldn't
Well,
suggest
it'll come
that.
out before we return.
Potentially.
Do we have the means to take my companion hog with me?
Presently, I guess he would have seen that because the hog was there. So,
All along. Don't worry about it.
yeah, he'll provide there's a fifth ring, so there's 3 rings on the table. One for Roach, one for the bear, and one for the hog.
The bear's best friend, Pig.
Right. Yeah.
The hog's ring goes through its nose.
There you go. Yeah. That'll work. So he continues as you all consider the rings and how to put them on the animals. Now, I've got to be a bit grim. We're sending you on this expedition in hope of important results, of course, but what we fear is another disaster, not much different from what happened the first time we sent people into the Valley of the Ancients. So we've made some special arrangements for you. 2 of the best wizards in the Northlands will be watching you in their crystal balls. Both have agreed to come to your aid if they see that you are in great trouble. Since they are needed elsewhere, however, you can't rely on them. And, of course, they can't be by the crystal balls every second of every day. Nonetheless, it could make a difference in them being able to help you out. With that, I must leave you. You all probably have some plans to make yourselves, and I do recommend an early start tomorrow morning. And, of course, we'll be watching through the crystal balls when we can, and I hope for safe journeys for all of you. And he starts to, he stays sitting for a moment just in case you have more questions, but it looks like he is prepared and ready to leave you for the evening.
Do you have an extra map of the area?
Yeah, since you actually asked, he ends up pulling out a map of the rough area, and also let you know that the Baron that you'll be meeting is intimately familiar with the area, and he'll be able to further help you. But you've got a general map now of the area, and you can see where the Hector is, where the Valley of the Ancients is, to a degree of reasonability. So you can mark that in your inventory that you have a regional map.
Wanted to talk to the monk. Was it Brother Richard?
Yes, Brother Richard. He's still kind of standing by. He's kind of sitting at a table not far away.
Okay. Yeah, I'd like to go and sit with him for a second and introduce myself. Said, I'm Orion. I understand you are a holy man.
He nods his head, inclining, and says, "Yes, I am a monk in these parts." He offers you an arm out.
I go ahead and shake his arm. What god do you serve, out of curiosity?
That is a good question.
Sorry, I didn't mean to throw that at you.
he mentions a thing. I'll get back to you on that one. I think he generally serves the church, so it might be a multitude, but I don't know if it goes into that detail here in the character.
Okay. I want to ask him, what do you know about where we're going? Any dangers we might come across? Or have you done this journey before?
Well, from what I know, there is the sand folks we might need to watch out for in the city of the, or not in the city of the gods, but on the way to the city of the gods. There's
Are those people, or is that a species?
that is a species. He says four-armed, hardy individuals.
Right. I don't mean any offense by this, but why you? Why you and not someone else?
Well, my brother is going to be taking part as well. We're quite skilled and able, so, and we're trusted by the Fitch.
Then it will be good to have you along. I just pat him on the shoulder and walk away.
Yeah,
Would you like a drink?
I think at this point the Fitch has stood up and left you all. So you guys have rooms that you can rest at, basically. And you can make plans right now. You've got the map. Brother Richard will be around if you want to ask him some further questions or information, which he can end up providing.
Talia's studying the map and putting like an even rougher copy in her notes.
Okay.
It's only got like the bare minimum. It's by hand. She's not a cartographer by any means, so it's not pretty, but she's copying it into her notebook and it's probably pretty inaccurate.
I want to go to the bar and grab a round of drinks for everyone. Is Roach still behind there?
Yeah, you get there, and Roach is actually pouring out into 3 cups. They're not mugs. They're nice cups.
Okay.
And
Yeah. I want to.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. When I see Roach doing that, I'm like, oh, you read my mind. While we're at it, I want to apologize for being abrasive in the tunnel. I think we can agree that probably not some nice things were said. I'm Orion. Yeah. I'm just sorry. I guess that's the best way to say it.
It's mighty big of you to be apologizing. No harm done, I don't think. I'm actually used to an approximation of a similar reception, more or less. And she pushes the drink towards you and just kind of like looks at you like, good luck with this drink.
Go ahead and take the drink. I'm going to grab one for the bear as well.
You think, do you think I'm safe from the bear? Do you think the bear's gonna keep trying to kill me? Because, like, what's done is done, you know? I don't...
Yeah, I think if we bring a drink to the bear, sign of burying the hatchet, as it were.
All right, yeah. I'm Roach, by the way. Like the bug.
Gross.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I want to go out to the stables and bring the bear a beer. Bring the bear and the boar a beer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Are you bringing them in mugs? Do you request a cup or bowl, or how are you doing that?
I think that probably just bring it in a mug, and just kind of hope for the best. Yeah, just hello, bear friend. I brought you a beer. Just kind of slide it.
No,
Would you like it?
no expert on toxicology, but I don't think it's a good idea for a bear to drink alcohol.
Fair enough. Well, if you change back at some point, and stop being a bear, there's your be.
So,
Yeah.
a question for Luthka. In this shape-shifted form of this bear, are you able to communicate vocally with speech, or are you is your shapeshift an actual bear so you can only growl? And
I think I can only growl, yeah.
okay,
So I guess what you heard was,
I picked it up through body language, bear sign language.
yeah.
She sounds like I feel.
One of the languages you took, bear sign languages.
it's a good one.
Comes in handy.
So yeah, the somewhat out of place polar bear does not seem interested in the drinkage. Is there anything else that Orion would like to communicate?
I guess he'll introduce himself. He's I'm Orion. I will address you as Bear Friend until further notified. So Bear Friend, it is nice to meet you. I will not shake your paw for safety reasons, but I hope that we will be fast friends. Enjoy your stable, and looking forward to the adventure. And he goes and heads back inside.
Okay.
I was behind him this whole time, but you only see me when Orion leaves, and I'll just be like, I'm Roach. Goodbye.
And while that's happening, Talia is just continuing to write in her notebook.
Essentially, yes. When they, if they go back to the table, whenever they do, she kind of looks up from the book directly at Roach for the first time, really, and says, "Oh, well, you're interesting looking. Hi, I'm Talia."
I'm Roach. Well met.
I hope you don't mind if I ask what are you? Are you dead?
Sort of. I think the technical term, if I recall correctly, is an undead construct.
Oh.
Would you like
And
to
she
see?
writes some more. Well, yes.
Make sure no one's like actually eating or drinking anything first. And when I'm sure, I'll reach up and pull my face mask off. And she's noseless. She just doesn't have a nose. It's a hole in her face like that. And her lips are very thin, almost non-existent, peeled back. Her teeth are kind of sticking out a little bit. And it's gnarly. She definitely looks like a zombie.
You are definitely interesting. And then
Thanks.
she continues writing.
The nicest thing anyone's ever said about my appearance.
She says, wait, so you're a construct. That means somebody built you or made you. How did they make you?
I don't know. The research was confiscated a long time ago.
Oh. Well, I can see why.
Now, you said you were attempting to be careful of your surroundings before you took off your mask and stuff, right? Okay. All right. So, yeah, Brother Richard doesn't happen to notice when you do this. For those of us watching, he just rolled with disadvantage due to that Roach was double checking the surrounding before doing it, and so rolled quite low with a disadvantage added in. But go ahead, continue.
I'll just put all my layers back on.
Oh. Do you... Oh, it was your arm that fell off earlier. I got it. Okay. Continues writing.
what's you're and you're rich, right? I remember
Oh.
that.
Well, I suppose so. Well, my family is. I don't think it's something that we should really be, touting about.
Well, neither is being an undead construct. Probably shouldn't be saying that out loud very often either. Would you like a drink?
Oh, yes, please. It's not poison, is it?
Well, yes. All alcohol is poison, technically.
I mean, extra poisoned.
Depends on your brand. It does smell very potent, if that's what you mean. I use the clear stuff.
Oh, okay. And she goes ahead and takes a sip. This is very good. Okay. I probably shouldn't drink that much of this. My handwriting's going to get all wibbly wobbly.
Does Talia often consume alcohol?
Not very often. Occasionally she'll have a drink, but that's about it.
And this is your choice for your character, but if you wanted to, you could roll fortitude to see how much the alcohol is affecting her.
Actually, I like that. Especially because her fortitude isn't the best.
So 10 is, usually considered a pass. So I don't think you've had enough yet to wibbly wobbly your writing.
Good. She's got a lot to write about. It's been very, very eventful today.
And I'll sit down next to her. We don't have to play the Fitches game if you don't want. And I'm going to lower my voice real low here and say, they have the means, they said, to take us back. We could just put a knife to his throat, tell him to do it.
Well, that wouldn't be good at all. Obviously, something had brought us here. We should at least check it out. I think it would be fun.
Something could have brought us here, or nothing could have brought us here.
Well, something could have brought us here. Actually, someone did brought us here. It was that guy. But while we're here, it's just so interesting that, he said it was called the City of the Gods. I don't even know. It's. I gotta see it.
Okay, then.
What is
I can only imagine what it look like.
what is Orion doing right now while these two are having this conversation?
Yeah, I figured this would probably be more of a private conversation, so I'm, I guess, just sitting at the bar,
Okay.
enjoying a few drinks. Trying not to eavesdrop, but
I mean, if you want to, you can always roll your perception to see if you happen to.
sure. I'm sure that it's probably hard for him not to, especially when he sees Talia drinking and he knows that she doesn't drink that often. It's probably good just to listen in, see if she's overly slurring.
Yeah, and you got to make sure she's not being bamboozled or anything else like that.
Sure. Yeah.
You're having a hard time hearing.
I'm a few drinks in at this point. It is yeah. I am perceiving what is in the mug.
You see her doing lots of writing, and it's just the typical gibberish you figure that she's going on about.
By the way, about the drinks, Roach has no idea how to mix a drink. So it's probably terrible, just saying.
2/3 alcohol, like 1/3 mix.
Beautiful.
The more it burns, the better it is, right?
That's how you know it's working.
Yeah. Talia will say, now I just have to remember what, I can't, there's gotta be some, Roach, have you ever traveled in time before?
Not that I'm aware of.
Well, 'cause you see, I was just thinking about this. If I take some money now and I put it towards something, then maybe I can help someone who will make a difference later.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's a really good idea. We should all do that. Let's go find a bank.
I hope it's still standing in 3,000 years.
Well, that's the thing. I can't remember. This is actually 3,000 years ago, so that's a really long time.
I have questions about that though, because usually, like, a tavern would not be standing in 3,000 years. So it's like, how is this one still standing?
Oh, well, I did see some markings around some of the entryways, which I think helped preserve the building a little bit longer than it originally would have. There might even be some sort of phase in and out of dimensions that the entire property does. I take a little bit of time to look around before you arrived. I think that was you. I heard Orion talking to someone when I was examining the doorway before it activated.
I was there.
Yeah. Oh, okay, good. I didn't see you. That's odd.
That's normal.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not a bad thing. I do it myself.
She continues. She makes even more excited notes in her book, and then she says, yes. Well, he always tries to interrupt me as I'm examining things, but anyways, the time, all about the time. I think that the inn itself might exist in a place in a time outside of the current one that we came from and the one that we are in at this time.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes all the sense.
But also, if you think about it, we've already done this, because if we get to where we are right now, we wouldn't be the same people, and all the things that we did before already happened. So we know we're successful.
Okay.
I mean, that's all the more reason to go ahead, right?
Well, I mean, there are things like what if there are like alternate realities that fork off and we're only part of one of that alternate reality in that timeline. The timeline can change still because alternate realities.
I did a little bit of research into it, but it seemed a little too, I don't know the word for it, but
timey-wimey.
Yes, that's a great word. She goes back to writing, and every so often she takes a tiny sip of the drink because it does taste very strong.
Yeah, probably it will start to affect you as you take more and more sips.
Yeah.
What is...
She probably...
Oh, go ahead.
She probably only gets through like 3/4 of the drink throughout the night, but I'm sure by the end of the night she's definitely slurring.
Might need a little assistance getting upstairs to her room.
Yes.
So with Luthka and Glamis, are you up to anything while you're in the stable? There are some horses in the stable who are probably not entirely comfortable with a polar bear being in the stables with them, but they do have their own separate sections. separate stalls.
Right. Well, considering these horses I'm guessing these are domesticated horses and not just horses from out of the wild.
Right.
Setting them free won't really do any good. So, I guess not really. Kind of just hang out with Glomus.
Okay. And there would be, especially with you being a bear, even though you're supposedly with these people and stuff, there's an attendant in the stables for sure, like just kind of keeping an eye on things. I'm not sure if the attendant is comfortable that he could do anything to stop the bear, but he is there.
It's out of courtesy.
Right. All right. Yeah. So you guys can, of course, if there's something else you want to do, you can definitely do it. You could explore if you wanted to or whatever before you go in for the night.
I would love to follow Brother Richard around a little bit and just kind of spy on him from a position of stealth to see if he's what we think he is.
What you think he is. Okay.
Okay.
So go ahead and then roll a perception for throughout the evening. You can go ahead and get one advantage on it unless you've got additional perks or feats that would enhance that any further. And then roll me your agility for stealthing or trying to not be noticed while you are observing.
Yeah, I will say I don't go. I'm gonna just try to act casual this time
Okay.
and go all the way invisible and just over my mug every once in a while. Oh no, that's a nat one. No.
Well, nat ones aren't quite the same for open legend. You can certainly do that, but yeah, you got 2 1s and a 6. 8's pretty low. So he's I think he makes eye contact with you a few times. And you notice him maybe making a few gestures with his hands, and then his eyes like kind of spark a little bit. It looks like he's done some sort of arcane or magical or something, and seems to be observing you a little more intently than he was before.
Just gonna make sure that I don't have any extra parts. Everything's normal.
Sure. Yeah. So yeah, he is probably paying as much attention to you now as you are attempting to pay to him.
Could I tell what he was doing with his hands or anything?
I mean, you can tell he did some sort of spell, some sort of effect there. You could roll logic to maybe try and figure it out.
Getting all the bad rolls out now.
Yeah, get him out of the way. Double 2s. So I'll let you have a choice here. You could I'll give you a little bit more information if, like, as you're watching, a body part falls off, or you can just not be sure and not have a body part fall off with him potentially seeing that happen.
Something's got to actually, like, cause a... Yes, they do just fall off, but at the same rate, there was no impact or anything like that to actually jar any body parts from me. So I one of the reasons why I wear as much as I do besides covering myself up is to bind myself, because I do have those problems.
Right.
So with only this much showing, there's not a lot of options here for stuff that can just fall off.
I like you say, I do have those problems, as if it's a problem that anybody else might have. You know, body parts just randomly falling off.
I mean, you know how it is.
Yeah. Especially when it's
Those
the
things.
nose just falling off. That's just so...
Yeah, and then you lose it. Yeah.
Misplace it. All right. So Yeah, you guys will retire for the evening. You can get some rest. You got food. And in the morning, there would be some of the leftovers from the night before and stuff ready for you to, whatever gruel and potatoes and bread and stuff like that would be available in the morning. So is there anything anybody wants to do when they're in their room or by themselves?
I think the one thing Orion does before he goes to sleep every night is just double checks weapons and armor, sharpens a sword a little bit, especially if it's been used. It's the stuff I think he kind of learned becoming the fighter that he is. Just respect the equipment you have, and it'll always work for you.
Now, with you being a bodyguard, do you stay in the same room as Talia in order to be able to watch over her during the night, or do you have your own room? And that might be a question for Talia too.
Sure, I at least my side of it, I think he's respectful enough of Talia's space to allow her to have her own room. He doesn't sleep in the same room when she's at home, but it's across the hall or next door. It's close enough that if something happens, he can at least hear it. But yeah, I think that it's not like he's curled up at the foot of the bed or anything.
Sure, yeah. So in the morning when you all wake up, at some point you gather downstairs eating the meal. Brother Richard is there. He was given the rings as well that you all were given. He was actually given 3 rings himself, one of which he put on. The other 2 he slipped into a pocket. So I guess you guys would, after eating, you would go and gather in the stable where the bear and the hog are. So what do you do for the rings for the bear and the hog?
Why are we visiting a bear? Is the bear supposed to come with us?
The bear's our friend. I don't think it's necessarily just a bear. It was an orc, and then it turned into a bear. So there's maybe more things.
And is this the first time that Talia has noticed the Luthka as a bear, at least?
Yeah, I imagine when, like, the entire time last session, she was completely absorbed in studying every doorway she went through and just did not notice much at all. Heard bits and pieces of conversation as she, looked up to make sure she knew where Orion was. But other than that, she pretty much was unaware of most of the stuff going on around her. Just for ease with everybody else interacting and whatnot. But she says, okay.
For now, I'm definitely staying as a bear. I guess, when... Are we taking off teleporting? Or...
Yeah, they're getting ready to activate their rings. So they have to figure out how to put the rings on you and your hog.
So, how large are the rings that we were given for the bear and the hog?
Yeah, you said they shape to the wearer. Is this something where it's going to turn into a collar?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, how large are they to begin with? Are they just normal size?
Yeah, they're normal to begin with.
Okay.
And you're probably familiar enough with magic that certain magic items, once you start to put them on or put them on, they will, depending on the power, or the strength of the magical item, will resize to fit the wearer.
Okay. So for the bear, she said she holds up the one ring and says, "Well, I don't know if you want to wear this as a ring, as a bear, but you could put it on any digit, and if you just hold up where you want it to go, I'll put it on you."
Luthka takes the ring, just kind of grabs it,
Kind of use one of your
and
bear claws
sits
to.
on.
Okay. And the other ring she
And-
will
but-
try to just put on the leg of the hog, like just around the hoof,
Okay.
like an anklet.
And were you saying something else for Luthka?
Yeah, specifically ring is going on left pinky.
Okay, so the as your little pinky bear claw kind of like hooks around the ring kind of slides down, and it does in fact like resize and grow a little bit bigger, and goes past the claw to fit. It probably looks a little odd, but there is now a ring on the polar bear. And I guess it kind of turns into a bracelet on the leg of the hog. And yeah, the brother Richard is there with you, and he kind of nods to all of you and says, "Are you all ready?" And he just takes his ring and he kind of shifts it slightly on his finger, kind of showing you what to do there, and then he poofs out. There's a loud clap as air is suddenly sucked in where he used to be.
Once he's gone, I'm gonna be like, oh, wait, 1 second, and then I'm gonna run away, and I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna shove what looks like a whole bunch of bread in my pocket, just bread in the pocket, and then I'll do the same.
Okay. Yeah, you likewise poof.
Yep. Talia will say, "Okay, well, here goes nothing," and she will also poof.
And Orion is gonna poof after that.
Is Luthka and the boar or the hog activate the ring?
Yeah, they're going to. Yeah.
So yeah, you guys all end up in a flash of light, the smell of ozone, the feeling of air rushing away from you. You all suddenly appear, and you're in a wooded hummock surrounded by a vast expanse of grass that rolls in the wind like the waves of some green sea. Just 100 feet northwest of where you now stand is a long, low timber and sod house, flanked by half a dozen gaily striped umbrella tents. An overgrown and rutted track winds between you and the house before disappearing to the west. Sharing the hill with you are 3 soldiers dressed in chainmail and gray livery, emblazoned with a bright green dragon. As soon as you appear, one of the soldiers hails the nearby camp, where 4 mail-clad men can be seen attending to routine chores. You'd recognize some of the livery and stuff as what you saw on the guards when you first appeared. But let me grab you. I think some of the guards are a little startled to see a polar bear, but otherwise, yeah. Let's see this old school map here. So you guys basically appear here. Now these squares are 10 feet. So it's a little bit bigger of a distance, but you can use the measure tool and roll 20 to see distances, basically. And yeah, you guys all in that flash appear. And you can see a whole bunch of, soldiers, like a small little garrison of sorts. So does everybody see the map first of all? Okay. So yeah, over here, you notice the tents where some of them are. There's a bunch of horses down here. And yeah, not too far away from you is a large silver egg. But yeah, about 20 yards east of where you stand is a large, smooth, ovoid metal object. One end of the middle object is slightly crumbled as if it had struck something, and a long furrow of plowed earth behind it appears to mark where the object skidded to a stop. A closer examination reveals that the surface of the object is not as smooth as it appeared at first glance. At one point, the base is broken by an etched circle 3 feet in diameter. The surface of the circle is depressed, except where it is bisected by a 6-inch wide undershot bar. Besides the etched circle is a legend written in red runes. So you guys see this.
Talia
Is the
runs
map-
straight for it.
Sure.
Is the map to scale in the sense that the egg is like 10 feet?
It's a little bit bigger than that.
Okay.
Yeah. It's probably closer to 15.
Didn't the Fitch tell us something about it being able to like transport troops?
Yeah, he had mentioned that it could probably hold like 20 people inside of it or something.
Okay.
And yeah,
All right,
Talia, you run up and you see all that stuff that I described. There appears to be writing and stuff like that.
I would like for Luthka to turn back into an orc.
Okay. So yeah, those of you nearby see the transformation happen.
I'm gonna put my hand on Ryan's shoulder real quick and warn him that I'm going to become invisible again. This is standard operating procedure for me. But I'll be here.
Good to know. Shout out if you need help.
I got you.
And are you doing anything in particular as you have Luthka, as you have turned into your back to your orc form?
Yeah, I'm going to check out this egg, kind of like put my hand to it, see if I feel it's unnatural.
It's unnaturally smooth. This is very, very strange.
I exclaim that this is not an egg at all.
Oh, well, that's definitely correct. This is definitely a construct. It's so interesting. Do you see all these runes on there? Let me see. Can I translate these?
This doesn't belong here.
And Talia would like to try to read the runes.
Okay. Yeah, because of some earlier remembrance that you had,
Yes.
you might be able to.
Okay, let's see. What is it? No. Gain 1 advantage on logic. Okay.
And remember, if you have legend points, you can always choose to spend those to give yourself advantage and a +1 to your roll. I do let you do that after you roll, if you would like.
I don't know if I have any legend points.
Everybody started with 2.
Oh, okay. I do then. Yeah, I guess I'll spend a legend point. Oh no. It's too big. There we go. I'll spend a legend point to give myself 1 more advantage.
Okay.
And
20 is pretty good. And actually, it's a 21 since you spent a legend point. Now, it is definitely not a language. You only recognize it in that old piece of parchment that you remembered when you were doing research before. And you kind of look at it and you piece together it's some sort of message that says, be careful. Only the correct people should be in here. There's definitely more to it, but that's about all that you're able to work out based on what you've seen before and what you see here. It seems to be instructions on how to open something.
I think that this is the manual. I'm pretty sure that this writing is the manual on how to use it. It's a really strange language, though.
And suddenly
I
you are
only-
interrupted as you were saying this. So you're still staring at the metal egg when a gravelly voice barks out, "You, stand clear of the egg and identify yourselves." There is a burly man with a sergeant's insignia that's stitched to his uniform. And before you can comply or the man with the crossbow can say any more, one of his companions, a short fellow in a patched traveling robe, shouts the word "Richard!" and leaps forward to embrace the flying monk that is with you. He's not currently flying, that's just how he is referred to. After a lengthy bout of affectionate hugging and enthusiastic back-pounding, punctuated by a babble of inane comments from the short fellow in the patched robe, the two brothers, for clearly that's who they must be, part self-consciously and turn their attention to the others, occupying the hill with them. So Brother Richard proceeds to introduce you to his brother, his actual familia brother. So this is Bocero, the drunkard. As you were informed, he does have a penchant for drinking. He doesn't seem to be inebriated at the moment, but he is standing there, and so he is introduced, and then Bocero in turn introduces first himself, and then the two other gentlemen who have joined the area. So, and this, friends, is our guide into blackest danger. His lordship, the Peshwan Nashapero, king's companion, and by grace of his majesty, King Uther I, Baron of Dragonia. With that introduction, Bocero makes a sweeping bow to his companion, a dark, slim individual of medium height, clad in blue plate armor and unadorned nubby silks of the same silvery gray as the soldiers that surround you. At first, you're not completely sure of this person's gender. The figure is almost girlish, and an androgynous face before you might be that of a famous courtesan or an innocent choir boy. Certainly, the hand that the Baron offers each of you in turn is soft as that of a maid. But beneath the velvet skin are muscles and tendons like steel bands, and the eyes in that painfully beautiful face are the flat, dead eyes of a killer. So this is the Baron of Dragonia that you are introduced to. And he does go by and in turn shake all of your hands.
Does he?
Well, for those that he sees.
Sorry, what was the Baron's name one more time?
The Baron.
Okay.
Shipro. Sorry.
Okay.
Make sure I'm...
Title will be easier. Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to
What
ask,
was-
we call him Nana.
What was the brother's name one more time?
Brother Richard and then Bocero, the drunkard.
Bolsero.
Yeah. I'll type it into chat for you real quick.
That's fine. I got the drunkard, but I didn't quite catch the name.
And I am amazing. I am aces at pronouncing names, so you can be sure that I 100% pronounced all of these completely accurately and correctly. Yeah, so introductions go through. So they seem to not have any trouble with you, Luthka, even though you are an orc. You are all in a group, so they accept you and your hog. They don't shake hands with the hog, though. But
Pretty rude.
How rude.
yeah, I mean, unless does the hog like stand up and offer their hand out?
No,
Okay,
doesn't do that.
in case you really wanted that to happen.
Oh, it was a great mental image.
Yeah, and so Bocero is kind of excited, and he looks over you all. Would you all like a tour of the silver egg? He asks.
Oh, yes, definitely.
And yeah, so he steps forward, and that bar that's sticking out, he grabs it and he starts to turn it, and it causes a slight hissing sound as he starts to pull open this apparent entryway. And a big thank you to 12-Sided Guy as they do a 50-bit cheer. Thank you very much for that. And with that opening, as you guys are about to explore this silver egg, we'll go ahead and take our break here for a bio break, a drink break. So just want to encourage everybody before we go on break, if you haven't already, feel free to go check out the Discord. It's an awesome community over there. You can get lots of information and say hello to folks and all that. And we'll go on about roughly 10-minute little break here for drinkage, and we'll be right back. And we are back. All right. So, of course, the stream can see something that you guys can't. That's okay. I'm just grabbing some tokens for no reason. These are actually the people. So this is Baron. So he's there. He's kind of standing outside as... Pardon me. So he's kind of standing outside. The Basaro is very excited to show you guys the interior of this. So like I said, he has just proceeded to open up the egg itself. Because, I mean, clearly it's a completely natural, just giant silver egg. And so, you know, as the camera shows this, probably, you know, most of us as the viewers and as the players would recognize this as like the hatch to an airplane is what it kind of resembles. So it's just kind of, and pulling out this perfect seam, just, there's a little bit of a hiss as it happens. Oh, and I need to adjust my note location. All right, so gripping this bar, he twists it to the right. There's a soft sigh, and what has seemed to be a thinly etched circle becomes the outline of a door. And when he pulls out on the bar, the door swings open, and here is a marvel. For even though the door is at least a foot thick, it swings lightly as a feather. Inside, the egg is brightly lit by milky, glowing panels set in the walls and ceiling. All surfaces are smooth and hard, and many of them are canted at odd angles. The walls don't stand true and straight, but wander off in all directions, making the small egg seem much larger inside than it really is. So you guys, are all of you going to step in, or are only some of you interested in following Basario into the egg?
Talia's all over this. She is right up there, examining the walls, looking at all the things that are inside.
Oh yeah, there's sights to be seen for sure.
I'm gonna hang back.
Okay. Cassie, go ahead and give me a perception roll real quick.
Can't catch a break.
Man, your rolls today.
I'm not utility. I'm all combat. What you want?
Yeah. So, well, you rolled a 2 and a 5. Hey, at least you got above average.
Don't.
The D8.
You don't have to sugarcoat it. It is what it is. I understand.
I'll say that you get this. You notice Brother Richard look around, and you're not sure, but maybe he's looking in your direction, even though you're invisible.
I wink at him.
He seems to either hold his face if he's seeing it, or he does not see you wink at him. But you are uncertain as to which. And so, Orion, are you following after Talia as she enters this strange egg?
Yeah, I want to go in as well, and I want to activate my detection.
Oh, okay.
And see if I'm picking anything up from the egg or surrounding area. If anything's giving off an aura.
Yeah. It's kind of strange. Like, there's definitely some weird magical auras coming off of everything, but it's different. There's similarities, but it's just you can't quite identify it because it's just a little different. So it is strange. You do notice since you're activating your detection, actually go ahead and roll it for me just to see how strongly you activate that particular boon. So what Orion is what Orion is doing is he's rolling to invoke a boon, which normally in non-stressful situations you don't really need to roll for that. It's just when there is a time constraint or things like that. As he rolled a lovely 1 on his d4 and a 10. He needed a 12 to get power level 1. This is just to see if he might get some additional information besides what I provided him for activating that boon. So detection in D&D terms is kind of like... my brain just went blank.
Perception?
Detect magic. Is what it's like. So he's trying to see what auras are giving off of things around him. And thank you, Redwine Time, or Red Wine Time, for your 100-bit cheer. So yeah, he opens up this egg. Oh, Luthka, did you say what you were doing? Were you staying outside or were you going in?
Luthka is hesitant to go in.
Okay.
Definitely.
I mean, this is an unnatural, not an egg thing, so understandable.
I would only get in if it was an actual egg.
Okay, good to know. So yeah, inside, like I said, it feels larger just because of the strange angles of the machines. Talia and Orion, as you are led in by Bassario. So the interior of the egg is a single large chamber with ample room for all of you. Padded benches run along the sides of the egg from the end where you entered, almost to the front or top where Bassario now stands, facing you between 2 padded chairs. Strangely, you can look directly through the walls, making up the top half of the egg, as if they were cut from the finest glass in Blackmoor. As your eyes dart from one wonder to the next, Bassario delightedly explains what he has learned of the egg's magic. First, he shows you the strange devices removed from the body of the magician who was flying this device before it crashed. One of the first items in Bassario's catalog of magical items is a small pin or badge, which at first does nothing. But then he puts the pin on as he somehow activates something, pressing a stud on the face of the device, and it begins to emit this strange, haunting melody. It's kind of pleasant to hear. And then he pins the device to his robe and leaves that music on as he proceeds to walk around and show you some of the various things. So what I want is, who would like to roll an exploding D6 for me? For those of you wondering what exploding means, dice when they roll their maximum, well, you get to roll them again and add the total. So either Talia or Orion, in this case, since you guys are in the egg, if you'd just roll the /R space D6 exclamation.
Here we go.
A 3. All right. Very cool. So you'll find out what that is here in a little bit, because nothing's about to happen at all, I'm sure. Everything is just kosher and good. So yeah, he kind of walks around and he starts to show some of the items he doesn't yet know about. Actually first, yeah. So he shows you a suit, which is kind of like armor, right? But it's definitely different. The metal is very smooth. It looks like it's precise fitting. And is surprisingly light. He shows you a glow wand, what he calls a little egg-shaped device that he thinks is some sort of communicator. There is something that looks like a crossbow, but it's missing the bow part, right? And he shows you this strange device with a red cross or plus sign that's on it. And he explains that this is a med kit that can end up providing some healing and aid to individuals. And then he pulls out these two. It looks like they're spyglasses, but shorter and combined together. And he says these are snoopers. So he kind of shows you the round, and then he starts to indicate some items that he doesn't yet quite understand. He explains that he hasn't had time to get to everything yet, especially since he's been occupied examining the egg itself. So he hasn't been able to like look at all the various items. And then he goes over to the front wall of the egg, excitedly waving you forward. So that you can see better. Do you guys come up to him as the front is where the big, where you can just like look straight through, and there's no warping when you're looking through the glass. It's kind of odd to look through it.
As Talia sees all these objects coming out, she's going to cast her own detection.
Okay.
Just because that would be a habit of hers. Like, ooh, these are new items. He's telling me some, but what else can I glean with my magic?
Yeah.
So she kind of snaps her fingers a little bit a couple times, and everybody can see little glow sparks kind of coming out of it, but it's just like radiant light, almost like a warm yellow light.
Okay.
And then...
So it definitely works, but roll to see if you get anything extra from it. Because you're going to definitely get a similar thing where it's, these are familiar, but they're a little bit different. Looks like you didn't pick a attribute to roll with that, so you just rolled the D20.
Oops. That would be
prescience, probably.
Yes, which I have a score of 1.
Okay, so just roll a D4 to add to it. I mean, you already got pretty high.
Yeah, but let's see. I could explode.
The D4 could explode. I've seen a D4 explode pretty high.
No.
All right, so you got 21 overall. So yeah, there's a lot of items, but there's a lot going on at the front that definitely interests you. So you get a feeling the crossbow that is missing the bow definitely seems to be some sort of, it reminds you of like a wand of firebolt or something like that, where it seems to give that aura off of it, that it can radiate out heated blasts of energy. So all of it looks very interesting, but it's like a kid in the candy store right now, right?
Yeah, she is all over.
Especially as she's moved to the front, and some of these panels start to light up. So yeah, he indicates this to you. And so beneath the point at which he's standing right now, the walls become clear. There's all sorts of these levers and studs and protrusions, and Basara touches one of the protrusions, and at least 24 others light up like it, so many bejeweled lightning bugs. Some of the colored lights are steady like the sun, others pulse or blink. All have tiny runes written beneath them, some of them which you are familiar to what you had seen before and what you were attempting to translate at the door. And yeah, glowing green runes appear on several large indented rectangular surfaces. So, and you also hear the sound like a whoo, like a powering up that we as viewers and as players would definitely recognize as like computers turning on, stuff powering on. For the characters, it's just the strange whirring sound that seems to be coming from stuff. So Basara starts to show you what he believes to be the controls that make the egg rise into the air and change direction. So he starts to show you certain specific controls, which you can pay attention to if you want to or not.
Definitely.
The egg, of course, doesn't actually move, and he explains that because it crashed it seems to be damaged, but from what he's been able to, through his studying of the egg and the symbols and the readouts that happen on this strange indented rectangular surface, that these are how you make the egg go up. This is how you make the egg go down, forward, left, basically gives you an idea of the controls if this egg were to function correctly. So he's just finishing up his lecture, which I'm sure Talia is taking great notes to. While this is happening, Orion, are you intently listening to all of this, or are you just kind of used to this droning talk from Talia, but is coming from this other individual?
I think more than even that, he's unsettled by like the whirring sound and lights and everything. I mean, this is it in a lot of ways. This thing has kind of come to life with him inside it.
Right.
So yeah, I think he's a little thrown off from that, and he's not exactly picking up everything that they're putting down. It's a little too sciencey for him.
Sure. Yeah. So
We're talking shop.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Basario's just finishing up about the egg, and I'll say all of you just noticed this. One of the rectangular areas that has been blank until now suddenly lights up. Basario kind of turns and kind of looks at it surprised as it does that. Seems maybe a little bit agitated. And etched into this rectangle is a bewildering array of glowing green shapes. Most of them are straight lines, and there are 6 pulsing lights in the upper left-hand corner of this. It kind of almost looks like a grid of sorts is on this. Like there's a small circle on this grid, and then a bigger circle, and then a bigger circle, and then a bigger circle, and then the circles are kind of bisected by several X's. So there's just this kind of grid. And yeah, at the upper left, there's these 6 little flashing dots that seem to be every now and then moving maybe a little bit closer towards the center.
Can I try to read anything on this screen? Does it look like it's in the same language that I got?
Yeah, the symbols are very similar. So you could roll your logic to see if you can kind of get a feeling for what this is based on what you read on the door and on that parchment so long ago.
Okay, I'm also going to use another legend point because
Okay.
I really want to know what this is.
Sure.
I think I know what it is, but I really want Talia to know what this is.
Sure.
While they're all messing around in the cockpit of the egg,
Oh.
generally, I just like to make clear on position just in case something happens.
Sure. So yeah, where have you positioned yourself outside this egg?
Yeah, I'll have noticed that I'm alone out here with the monk that doesn't like me and the bear orc that doesn't like me.
The bear orc.
And so the bork. And so I will spider climb up the side of the egg, and I'm now on top of the egg looking down through the fine glass, watching them.
Yeah, you feel like you're almost going to slip as you slide, you climb up this egg, but since it's the magical energies that are allowing you to climb so effectively, you don't, because it is very smooth, except of course the front that got crumpled from the crash. Yeah, with a 26, you think that the things indicating here it's some sort of detection system, kind of like your detection. It's detecting things in a radius out from this location, and so there seems to be 6 entities, things that it has detected not too far away. Basario is also trying to figure this out. Go ahead.
I have a quick question. Is does it appear to be in the same direction as the people standing outside? or in a
No.
different direction? Okay. So it's not the people outside.
You don't think so, no. So as both of you, as Besario and you, are trying to figure out what this is, the Baron suddenly shouts and points northward. And so you see this too, Roach and Luthka. And high in the sky, you can see 6 flying objects. You kind of stand transfixed for a moment, then Becerra cries with dismay, "Men! They're flying men! And they're made of metal!" And so you guys hear this from the inside as well. And that description maybe sparked something that you remember the fetch telling you about, right? So for those of you outside, as you kind of squint in their direction, you can see now that they are indeed flying men, whose glossy black bodies gleam like burnished steel in the bright sunlight. As fast as rocks, they speed towards you, and the Baron is now clearly disturbed. Both he and Besario dash from the egg and raise the alarm. So, you know, the guards that are outside all start to like move around as these things are coming in from the north and seem to be flying directly in the direction of the egg. And you inside, Orion and Talia, you can see through the glass and you can see the things flying towards you. Do you wish to remain inside or do you rush outside?
I'm gonna run out, draw the sword. Yeah.
Okay.
Talia's going to go out, not actually out, but stand just on the inside of the egg, like at the door, so she can still see what's going on the outside and help if needed, but she's trying to be hidden for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Orion's gonna turn back and go, "If things get nasty, close the door."
Did the Baron leave with all the stuff that he was showing us?
Well, you weren't being showed that because that was inside.
Well, that's the point, is that I was trying to make it so that I could see through the window at least. I couldn't hear anything that's happening.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so the Besario, as he comes out, the Baron's out, so all that stuff's still inside, yes.
I would like to go into the ship.
Okay. Let's go ahead and select your token and get some initiative so we can get some order to the potential chaos that's about to happen. I'm going to add a turn for Baron, but that just represents all those NPCs. Actually, let me grab some of the guards. Here's your monk friend. All right. Some of the guards are around. And of course, there's a whole bunch at the tents as these flying men of black steel. This is not black, but that's okay. So they are. And remember, for scale, these are 10 feet squares. If you use the measure tool, that is accurate. And you'll go ahead and roll for... is this correctly set up? Let me set up Glamis. He is not... Or your hog is interested in what is going on, for sure. All right. He should be... good to go. All right, so yeah, you guys are kind of all positioned outside as this is happening. Gonna have him over there. All right, so yeah, there are 6 of these things that appear to be flying in as stuff is going on. So we'll see. All right, so Roach, you are going first. So yeah, you can rush inside. What are you doing as you rush inside this egg?
I was going to make a mad grab for anything I could. Anything I saw him messing with. But
Okay, so yeah, I'll say that you saw some of it. You didn't really hear. I mean, some of it. I'll let you roll perception to see if you heard him describing any of the items, because the door was open, so sound could potentially come out.
That's better than what I have been getting. Hey.
Oh wow! Apparently your boar is ready for action, Luthka. He does have his own initiative since he is your companion, but you could always have him delay his turn to be with yours if you want to.
Right.
All right. 12, you kind of heard a few things. Probably for your character, the things that would have stood out the most that you could grab quickly would be that crossbow-looking device without the bow, the hand blaster, and maybe the snoopers.
Yay! Those are definitely the things that I was interested in.
So yeah, you could grab that as your, as you run in there, and you could even run back out, and I think that'd be about most of your turn.
Okay, can we say that I'm like at the lip of the ship?
Still just inside, but just at the doorway?
Like above Talia somewhere.
Oh, okay, so you want to climb back up the side of the ship a little bit?
Well, she's hanging out at the edge on the inside technically, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm right above her.
Okay.
Inside the ship officially, but I can stick my hand out if I go like that.
Okay, sure. And you are still invisible, right?
Yes.
Okay. What did you want to do for Glamis, for Glamis's turn? Luthka, did you want to delay it, or?
I mean, are there any like
There's no
target?
There aren't any targets because they're still a little bit away. They're flying in.
Yeah, I would delay in that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll just put Glamis there. All right, so that's a roach. All right, so actually I'll let player can go first. So Talia, is there anything you wanted to do?
Talia is essentially going to try to judge how close one of these things are. They're obviously something that she needs to fight. She's not the best fighter, but she's going to hold...
You don't have to fight things. You can talk to them. I'm sure they're very reasonable. You could actually roll to try and determine that. So it's a minor action. For our viewers, the way initiative goes, you have a major action, you have a move action, and you have any number of minor actions you can do. So on your turn, minor action, you can do a perception, a logic, a learning roll to try and better assess your situation.
I guess I'm going to do a logic.
Okay. What are you attempting to determine? Just how far away they are, or
how far away they are, if they look like they're hostile.
okay.
Yeah, they were warned about these people, right?
Yes, that they definitely seem to match the description of some of the things that the Fetch faced when he was in the City of the Gods previously.
Okay. Yeah. So she just wants to essentially assess the situation, if she should start fighting to defend things, or if it looks like it's everybody else can handle it pretty easily, whatever it might be.
Okay. So the first thing that you remember right off the bat as you're looking at these things is that the Fitch said that they were lucky that they were able to turn tail and run with their tails between their legs.
Okay.
So that pops up in your head. They definitely look like these things are on some sort of mission. You do recall that these have not been spotted this far out before. That they usually were just around the... So logically, you're like, this might not be good.
Yeah. Okay. Do I are they close enough that sending out a bolt of energy at one of them would reach them?
No, because they're about 150 feet away from you right now. They are flying in fast.
So as soon as one's in range, then she'll send a bolt of energy at it, thinking that maybe since it's metal, it'll kind of attract a little bit more, and it'll probably do more because metal's conductive.
Yeah, and your range, I believe, is 50 feet because you have a 6 or a 5 in energy. What is your...
I have a 6 in energy.
So your range is 50 unless you have taken the long shot feat.
No.
Okay. So basically, once one of them is within 50 feet, you want to...
Yep.
Chow. Okay.
Ciao.
All right. So yeah, these things... you guys all notice they seem to split. Three of them shift over this way and seem to be flying over towards the soldiers that are here. And 3 of them seem to continue down this way. So I think they might be close enough as you're kind of not quite in range. If you wanted to pop out of the egg and move 10 feet closer, they would be in range. All right. Yeah, the various guards and stuff, they start shooting some of their crossbows at this thing. You quickly see that the crossbows, or the bolts, just hit and like ricochet off. Don't look like they're doing much initially to these things. Orion, what would you like to do?
Let's see. I think. Let's see. So how close are we? That is okay. Like 75 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And there is an elevation. The circles are. That's what these circles are. It's about a 10-foot grade, I think.
Okay. So with a movement of 30, I could maybe only really move to like.
No, if you were coming up it, I don't think it's a steep enough grade that it would slow you down. I'm just letting you know that there is elevation there.
Okay. Don't think I have anything that actually can do that much range to it. And well, you said the squares are 10 feet anyway.
10 feet. Yes.
Yeah. Well, if they're 75 feet away, I think I might be able to hit them with something because you said that
a 3, a 4, 5, and a 6 score has a range of 50 feet.
Okay, then yeah, I'm gonna move 30 feet closer, which
right.
I guess will put me.
You'd be around here.
Yeah. And then I am going to try to use fear.
Okay.
On the closest one.
Ooh, 26. That is pretty good. And you're using your. So how does this manifest? What do we see Orion doing?
Right. So Orion's gonna kind of rush to the front of the egg there, kind of stomp his feet down and give a big dragon roar. But when he does that, this kind of radiant energy pushes forth from him because he's using creation for it, and it's almost like a divine fury that kind of exudes from him when he roars outwards.
Yeah, you notice there seems to be some effect on that particular flying man. It's kind of weird. You see where its eyes are, you see this light kind of flash. It's kind of hard to tell what effect you had since it doesn't really have facial features, but you feel through your magical sense of sending this radiant energy out that it feels like it was successful.
Okay.
Yeah, so cool. And Glamis and Luthka, is there anything you'd like to do as these things seem to be flying closer to your group? Not there yet, though.
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, they're still up in the air. So
Right.
I don't-
It's hard to do
Love
without range.
Yeah. I don't know if Luthka has anything to do either. No, not really. Yeah, no, I guess just kind of look at them worriedly.
Sure. That's very reasonable. Incredibly reasonable response. So I'll just copy these guys real quick just to show that there's a bunch of guards over here as well. If you wanted to do any boons on yourself, you could, always bolster yourself. You could always prep any other things like haste. I believe you have access to things like that.
Oh, yeah, I can. Just do haste on myself at the moment. How do you note that down?
So for you, you could just roll your alteration, I believe, or actually you have those boots, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So we need to actually put that in as a legendary item for you, but I'm going to do this real quick because I believe that's how it's 7. So I remember the stats that we picked for that. So I'll just do that real quick. So yeah, you get 19 is a good roll. You get basically power level 5, power level 4 on that. So you've got increased speed and movement. You didn't quite roll well enough for getting that extra action, hasted action, but you do have increased guard and an extra 15 foot of movement at the moment. All right, Roach, what would you like to do as you are kind of just behind Talia? You're seeing her have her hand out, like readying to do something.
Is Orion trying to fight? Are we gonna try to fight these things?
You did see Orion run forward and do something. You could probably look through the front of it.
What was that?
Did you say that out loud?
Yes.
Talia kind of looks around like,
Oh, yes. Well, we should definitely at least try.
and you can see at this time the same like yellow light is starting to swirl around her hands as she's kind of waving them in the air, and it's kind of forming a ball in between her hands, but also around her hands. It's a swirling ribbon of just pure light.
You're serious? I'm the one here considering diplomacy first, really? And I'll shrug invisibly, and you hear this little as she pops off her hand, and then I'm gonna try to chuck my hand at the things.
Okay, so you're checking your hand out the door.
At the things.
Oh, okay. You're gonna try
Can
and
I make it?
They're 70 feet away from you.
So what's the normal range on something that?
What's the normal range on a hand?
I'm throwing a limb.
If I make my hand aerodynamic, it could be like a dagger.
So I suppose a hand would be like a dagger. So it'd probably be close range, like 25 feet. Maybe. I think 25 feet is pretty reasonable to throw a hand. I don't know.
Okay.
How many severed hands have I thrown in my lifetime? Let me think a second.
Does the hand stay invisible, or does just a severed
When it
hand?
comes off, it becomes visible again.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think 25 feet. Now, you could, with disadvantage, attempt to throw it farther than 25 feet, of course. So if there's 70 feet, it would be disadvantage 2 to attempt to throw it so the hand actually lands on the closest one.
Yeah, it's the intent.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'd
I
have
wanted
this.
to land on top of one of them.
Okay, you'd have disadvantage 2.
I will use a legendary.
Okay, so just
Do this.
just 1 disadvantage. And just be a agility roll in this case.
Oh man.
Unless
Come on.
Unless you got something else. Oh wow, wow. Wait, I don't think you
Did it
ended
not work?
up. You didn't end up rolling it with disadvantage, but you're not going to get lower than 1, so it doesn't really matter. Wow. Technically, it's a 7 because you get +1 from the legend point. So
I
this-
did a -1 when it asks for advantage or disadvantage.
Oh, you entered in a negative. You enter in a positive number, and then then select a disadvantage from the drop down.
Okay. Should I try that again?
Yeah, I don't know if that. I think it ended up rolling it fine, but yeah, go ahead and roll it again just so that you can practice doing that.
So the first time I just put in
So in
one.
the first
and then,
number, yeah, just put in 1 where it asks for advantage or disadvantage,
Got it.
and then has disadvantage for the second.
Did that work?
Yeah, if only that had been your roll.
Yeah. Okay. So that's how it works. All right. Welcome, everybody.
Wait, why is? Oh, yeah, no, it didn't roll right because it took away one of your d8s.
Right. I didn't think so.
Okay, so, all right, we'll keep the 7 and the 4 and the 1, so that'd be a 1 and a 4. So you get four more on that. So that's an 11 total. So I think what happens is you throw it, and your fingers kind of slip on your own fingers as you throw it, and the hand lands on Orion's head.
Shoot. Is it too late then to say if the hand thinks it's not going to make it, that it uses the ring of teleportation to make 15 extra feet?
Yeah, you could do that.
Because it's got the ring.
Okay. Now, they aren't 15 feet, though. They're still 46 feet away from where Orion is.
Okay, well then that wouldn't work.
Yeah. But, I mean, you
Okay.
could get closer, I guess.
And be like, Orion, throw it!
Yeah. So, Orion, what do you do? I mean, it's not your turn yet, but this hand just plops on top of your head.
Yeah. Ah! Oh. Ah! I didn't need a hand.
I see what you did there!
And she did yell out to throw the hand at the creatures. But,
Okay. Then yeah,
well, it's
I
not your
will-
turn yet, but
wait for my next turn on that.
yeah. All right, Talia, you're just going to continue to hold when they get closer?
Well, yeah, really. Although the Talia changes her mind on exactly what she's going to do.
Sure.
The light starts swirling slightly. The ribbon goes a little thinner, and it starts swirling in a different direction. And she is going to, when it gets close, she is going to use this this light to shoot out to the closest one and nullify.
Oh.
She is going to attempt to cancel whatever it is that is making it fly,
Interesting. Okay.
to see if she can drop it out of the sky.
All right. Yeah, you got 50 feet of range, so as soon as it's close enough, which it is their turn now. So, first thing you all notice off to the left, your left, is these three fly in closer, and then they kind of point their hands, and something shoots out and hits the ground nearby where all these guards are, and this green smoke just billows out, and the guards start coughing, and some of them start to fall to the ground. Go ahead and roll, because these are going to get within range. Couple things happen when they do. But we'll see what... actually, this one... Yeah, this one, that eyes flash, it kind of... it actually flies away. And sees if it can... well, it is still...
It's actually a
fierce.
action one. Which is still 4, though. So I got a 15.
And that should target resolve, if I remember
Yes.
correctly. You attempt to do it, and you feel this like struggle, and your magic seems to dissipate without effect. It wasn't quite
Okay.
strong enough to nullify this flying effect.
Okay, so anybody who was watching would have seen just this ribbon, a very thin ribbon of yellow light shoot out from the doorway of the egg, wrap around him briefly, and then just shatter.
By the way, for your hand, I guess we technically need to give it initiative order, don't we? Don't you have
Technically,
a...
I wasn't gonna say anything.
Yeah, don't you have a hand icon or whatever? Separate
Yeah.
body part?
Yep.
Yep.
I got all the things. I am ready. Yep.
Yeah, it's right there on top of Orion there, that lovely...
Awesome.
It's that size, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's that big. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that severed hand's there. We'll go ahead. It looks like I actually need to turn that into an official token for you. Oh, nice.
It got a great initiative.
Hey,
Yes.
Orion, talk to the hand.
We'll for now just drop it in so this after Orion's initiative.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, so yeah. All right, so those do that. These fly in. One of them flies directly down and grabs Basario, and then starts to fly away with him. So you guys see that happen. The other one kind of hovers over the egg. And yeah, Brother Richard like cries out as he sees his brother picked up. And there we go. Let's see. He is going to... There's not a whole lot he can do in that one. Yeah, he is not happy with this action that takes place, or what's going on. Some more crossbow bolts fly from the guards, but just bounce off of the armor ineffectively. And Brother Richard yells out, "Don't hit my brother!" as they're shooting at this, flying away rapidly. Orion, it is your turn. You have a severed hand in your hand.
I do. Okay, so let's
There's
see, the
There's one, he's about 20 feet up. So he's about 20 feet away from you. So you could throw the severed hand at that one.
is that the one that has
No.
the Baron? Okay.
That one is a little bit farther away from... Oop, no, I don't want to select you. What? Click what I'm clicking on. Thank you. All right. That one is 45 feet. So if you don't want disadvantage to throw the hand, you'll have to move about 20 feet closer.
Okay. Yeah, I want to do that.
Okay.
See if I can chuck the hand.
Yeah, you could use
yeah.
might or agility to chuck the hand. I think both would make sense in this case. What's the hand doing as he's gripping it?
And go, ah!
Can it actually make noises?
No,
Okay.
it's what you would hear in your head based on the action it's performing. You know how that works.
I'm gonna kind of like push the hand together and try to like make like a
Okay, all right.
Arrow
It's
shape.
gonna know what you're doing here. All right, it's
gonna
try to work with
football
you.
it. All right. So just a straight might roll.
Yeah, that'll work. 22 is pretty good. Let me double check. All right. So have your severed hand roll something to try and hold on. It was a hard enough throw that you got the distance, but you don't land necessarily on it. But if you're able to roll, that's a pretty good roll. Now, is that Roach's roll or is that your severed hand's roll?
I have 2 sheets open. Sorry, one is in front of the other. That was Roach. Let me roll it again. They have the same agility score.
Oh, if they have the same agility score, then that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, you exploded on the D8. You got a 12.
Yay! Thank you for letting me keep that.
All right, so yeah, you're able to just barely grab on with the hand. Now, do you have a telepathic bond with this severed hand you've removed, or
No.
okay,
Not at all.
So it just kind of acts on its own now that it has detached from your body. Yeah, you're barely gripping on, and this thing's flying pretty fast. So luckily, with the small footprint or handprint of this, it's not going to be too badly affected by the wind. So we'll see if you can stay on. All right, what is the severed hand going to do now that it's?
So, correct me if I'm wrong, but does it look like these metal men are more or less like enormous, complex suits of plate armor?
I think that's unreasonable. Yeah, there's some sort of they resemble constructs for sure. Like
Okay, all right.
Golem-esque.
Yes, I'm semi-familiar with the concept of constructs.
Right.
I at least know that most of the times there's stuff inside. So what I'm going to try to do, what the hand is going to try to do, is either mess up something integral on the outside, or preferably get inside.
Okay. I guess, yeah, so you're going to try and like pry something open, or the fingers just trying to grip super hard? Or?
Yeah, if it's got like nozzles or something, we can start with that. If it's got wires or anything of that nature.
There's not a whole lot exposed. It's pretty solid armor, but go ahead and roll your agility for an attack, because that's kind of how this thing attacks. It's trying to find a weak,
Yes.
precise weak point to take advantage of, is kind of crawling over the body a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It can't find a weak spot where it is right now. It's trying, but it's not quite there. And I guess the hand kind of senses stuff around it, since it doesn't technically have like eyes.
It's got tremor sense,
Tremor
and I
sense.
imagine that's. I'm feeling that there's some kind of vibrations going on around
Yeah,
here.
there's the head. You can see this from your spot. The head swivels in place on this metal man, and seems to look at the hand that's on its side or back.
If the hand has any movement left,
Yeah, it would
It's
still
gonna-
have some movement.
it's gonna do a face hugger thing. Just gonna be like, bah.
Oh, try and get on it. Okay, so yeah, it's kind of moved onto the face of the construct. Yeah, Glamis and Luthka, is there anything you? I mean, again, the things are up in the air. One is only 20 feet away from you, though. In the air.
How? So 20 feet in the air. I don't think I have any way of reaching that. Is the thing.
You could pull a roach and throw Glamis.
Could certainly try doing that.
That'd be a little more difficult because Glamis is a little bit heavier.
Throw the pigskin.
Yeah, but Luthka is pretty strong.
Yeah, you could certainly attempt it. I'm not going to say no.
Okay. So would that be a might
It would definitely be a might in this case.
Okay.
Glamis is a
No.
forceful weapon.
No advantages, disadvantages.
You have disadvantage because of how
Okay.
non-aerodynamic Glamis is.
No, it's a torpedo.
How big is Glamis? Because it's a fairly big hog, isn't it?
Yes. 4'3", shoulder height, 7 feet in length.
Oh wow. Yeah, this is going to be a hard thing to do.
I would imagine.
We'll see. We'll see what you roll.
Just the one disadvantage?
Yeah, one disadvantage, but the CR is pretty hard on this.
Okay.
You're not going after the defense, the guard of the golem. Yeah, you kind of pick it up and heft and don't get very far. Glamis kind of raises up and then falls down. Doesn't quite make it, and your frustration at these things that are in the air. Yeah, I guess that's Glamis isn't going to really be able to do anything. What are you going to do, Roach? You hear this whirring sound coming from the construct above the egg.
Yeah, I don't want to leave the egg, for sure. And from a distance, that's more or less my best move is the hand chucking. I think I'm just going to, I don't have anything to bolster myself either that is particularly interesting. So
Okay.
I'm going to simply root for my hand with my other hand.
Okay, sounds good. Talia.
Okay.
This is the one that you tried to nullify.
Yeah, the nullification didn't work, so she's just gonna shoot energy at it then.
Okay.
She's like, well, that didn't work. This thing's trying to steal the object I'm in. So we're gonna try to shock it, essentially. So the similar ribbon light comes out, only this time it's a little bit more blue.
Oh, okay.
And it's going to move a little bit more like electricity. 17.
So yeah, Roach, you see as this bookwormy individual next to you suddenly sends crackling lightning-esque energy out, basically, is what you're saying?
Essentially, it looks almost exactly like a lightning bolt.
It seems to notice you doing this, and it shifts slightly to the side so that it just barely misses the creature. It seems to be very, very agile in its ability to move around.
That was a good try.
Talia looks extremely terrified right now. Kind of hyperventilating a little bit.
And you both notice as the hands kind of raise up and kind of are pointing towards the entrance. And you hear the sound of these
Oh god, close it!
flying, and they also seem to point. And you hear these strange tunk, 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 tunk sounds. And these metallic-like canisters bounce to the inside of this ship. And so, like, through that hole, there's several. There's, like, let's see what, there's 4 of them right now. So there's about these eight, like, they look like maybe they're rocks, but they're very uniformly shaped, and they just bounce, and there's these little lights that seem to be flashing on them.
Do I have any way to run out? Because Talia has a feeling that they're gonna do something bad.
You didn't use your movement. So you can do an interrupt action to, to run if you want to. It means you won't have a major action next turn. This one flies off, by the way, after it does that. And so you notice this too, Roach. The flashing seems to be getting faster and faster.
I would love to do something about that, but I don't think I can right now.
You can do the same thing. You can do basically an interrupt action, which will cost you your next major action, but you could do something like try and jump out.
My preference is to get them out of the cabin.
There's several of them. I don't know that you'd be able to get all of them out. Because they've all bounced around inside, basically.
Just looking real quick at what I have to work with.
Sure.
Yeah, the only other thing I could do is maybe use my feet and then... No, I can't have two companions out at the same time. Never mind.
Yep. You
Let's
can
say
only...
pull off parts of myself and then just use all of the parts. I don't think I'd end up functioning.
I have a question about that interrupt action.
Sure.
Can I use forced move with energy to do that? To try
So
to get
you can't use
several
an
of them
interrupt.
out instead?
You can't use an interrupt to do an attack action. You can
Okay.
use it. The classic is to use a defend to counter an attack.
Okay. And how many of them are there?
There are 8 of these uniformly shaped, somewhat cylindrical metallic objects that have bounced around inside the interior, and they've kind of rolled and scattered around.
Okay, yeah, Talia's just gonna try to just run out to the outside of the thing. See if she can get away from it.
I mean, I'm sure it's fine. Flashing's intensifying. Beep, 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 beep. So what's Roach gonna do?
Yeah, if there are 8 of them, I thought that there were 4 in my head for some reason. So I got a GTFO.
Yeah, there's
sure.
basically 2 that shot out from each of the metal men.
Okay, yeah.
There would have been more, but one of them got feared.
And this is my first time doing this. Which button do I hit?
You don't need to hit any button if you're just running out.
Okay, great.
Okay. So it's probably a good thing, because I think a 33 would have probably done something to you if you had still been in there. Oh. And one more. So there is a cacophony of explosion sounds, kind of like fireballs or something going off, and you guys are like probably pushed forward, maybe even to the ground, as all of the flying men start to fly away, and the egg is just exploded big time as these devices seem to cause many fireballs to go off inside of the silver egg. Really, the only thing to determine here, I think, is your hand.
Yeah, it's gonna try to blind what it's. What do you call it? Chariot.
The
And if it doesn't, it'll drop off.
yeah, try to blind the eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure. Go ahead and do an attack as you try and do something. It seems unaffected by this. It like starts to, the head starts to swerve around in a circle to maybe try and throw the hand off. And
that's not normal.
these things fly pretty fast, and they are starting to exit.
All right, it'll drop off
Okay.
and come walking back to me. Like, sorry, master. It's little pointer finger held low.
So they
Ryan will try to catch it.
okay. You run forward. Go ahead and do your agility to see if you can get there fast enough. Not quite. see how high up.
Almost gets it, then it falls just like 5 feet in front of him.
Right.
Picks it up, brushes dust off.
Your hand falls and hits the ground a little bit hard, taking 7 points of damage from the sturdy hit on the ground. So yeah, the flying men are flying away. Obviously, they have Bessario. I think the thing that you notice is the music of the pin that he's wearing is fading as his body's getting farther away. So you guys are surrounded by the guardsmen. Brother Richard is looking particularly agitated and upset as he sees his brother disappearing in the distance. You have the wreckage behind you. I think, Talia, you might think of this, of all those items that were inside. Unbeknownst to you, 2 of them might have been salvaged already.
What was that?
I said, unbeknownst to Talia, 2 of them have technically been salvaged.
Yeah. Talia starts crying, kind of falls to her knees, and is like, "It was so beautiful, and now it's gone." And she's really broken up about it.
My hand comes over and lays on her shoulder.
Thanks, Hand. I know you always have my back.
The fire doesn't last long in the egg, by the way, as it's not too super flammable in some parts of it.
When the fire does die down, she will go over and start inspecting it and seeing what actually survived.
Okay, go ahead and give me a perception roll to kind of investigate the area. You're kind of taking your time, so you can have advantage to it. Does anybody else want to help for further advantage?
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely help.
So you can have 2 advantage there. And if there's any other perks or feats that you have that would add to, you can do that.
I do have observant.
Okay. So that lets you just automatically see something interesting. But if you want to roll first to see if that's good enough, and then use observant if you don't roll well.
That is what it looks like. Yeah. Okay.
18's pretty good. So you find 2 things. You find the I think I'll give this to you. One of the badges, and you get the vague sense that the symbol means something like translate. And that roll that you made way back before all this craziness happens means you also find the little box-like thing that has the red plus sign on it, which you remember him vaguely mentioning something about, like it's some sort of medical kit. Roach, you have those 2 devices on you. You were thrown a little bit as the thing exploded. So roll me either your presence for luck or an exploding d6. High is good. So on exploding, okay, presence, okay. So both of the devices you acquired, I mean, you don't know how they function, but they don't seem broken from you landing on them.
Good. And if we're still sifting through everything and that's all we find, I'll sidle up next to Talia and say, I also have these. Pull out the crossbow thingy without the bow and the peepers, snoopers.
Yeah, snoopers, not peepers.
Oh, how did you get these?
I grabbed them before the combat started.
Well, that's stealing.
Yes, it is.
As one of her flaws, Talia is naive.
It's just between us right now.
Oh, like a secret? Okay.
And she will continue her, as she's searching, she will continue her search.
Yeah, and the Baron has already taken action. He's been going around checking on his men, trying to get some perimeters established. The egg is just worthless salvage, like twisted metal. There's not much left of it at all at this point.
So, sorry, who got carried off?
The wizard, Basario the drunkard,
Okay, gotcha.
the one who had all the information about the egg, basically.
Right, yeah.
It's Brother Richard's brother, Basaria.
Yes.
Okay. I did want to actually check on the soldiers who were in the green gas. I'm assuming the gas is dissipated by now.
Yes. And Brother Richard has gone over that way too, despite his worry over his brother. He is starting to attend and cure and heal some people.
Okay. So those guys were just incapacitated. They're not dead.
They do not appear to be dead, no. They're yeah. It seemed to knock them out.
Okay. Yeah, I'll assist Brother Richard in restoring them.
And as you are doing this, as stuff is getting on, it seems that no one was killed. It seems everybody was basically disabled, especially by the gas. Now, had there been some people inside the egg, they might have, something bad might have happened there. But otherwise, there don't seem to be casualties. So there's definitely some banged up people, without question. But between you and Brother Richard, you can definitely see to and tend to the people. And go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, while we're kind of healing, I want to ask him: have you seen those things before?
He says these are the things that the Fitch has told about. These metal men, these constructs.
Right. They were difficult.
He nods. I felt so useless.
I'm sorry about your brother. We'll get him back.
He nods his head in appreciation of your words, focusing for the moment on trying to not think about it as much as he focuses on healing and providing aid to the men. So about this time, it's a little bit of time, and the Baron gathers you guys together with himself, Brother Richard, and just himself and Brother Richard, and all of you. And says, my men will remain here to await our return, but we definitely need to head out, especially now that Basario has been taken. We need all due haste, so we'll get a good night's sleep, and then at first light, maybe even just before light, we're going to head out. Benbow is going to go ahead and prepare our horses for us, prepare food, rations, everything that we'll need for the journey. And if you have anything,
want my pocket bread?
What was that?
I have pocket bread.
Oh,
you don't want any pocket bread?
He kind of looks at you and says, pocket bread?
Yeah, check it out. He pulls them out and give him some.
Bread in your pocket. Yes. Okay. Kind of nods a little bit. He says, well, if you have anything to add to the baggage, you can definitely see him and you can add your pocket bread to the packing. then he kind of pulls out a map similar to the map that you have, Talia, and he says, "This is what I was thinking for our travel. My plan is to cross the Eastern Hawk, moving down the Salt Road to the East Gate. I'd like to avoid having to negotiate the Dragon Hills or the South Dragons. These are all locations, and I'll show you. We're about to wrap up, but he's just basically explaining this, and I'll show you guys a map next session for it. And he's just kind of showing you a path and explaining that this to him, with his knowledge of the area, is what he foresees as the safest path. And we'll kind of get into it next session to see if that's the path you wish to travel and take his advice, or if you want to go some other way. But we kind of close out with smoke rising up from the wrecked hulk of the egg, a couple bulges and roaches. Did you give all of them to Talia?
No, I just showed her.
Showed her. So yeah, you've got this bulge, shape of a blaster, and these snoopers kind of bulging out of another spot. So yeah, we'll wrap it up there. What'd you guys think of that?
It was pretty fun. I enjoyed the combat.
The puns all the time. Both of you. Very good.
Yeah, just because I was holding your hand doesn't mean anything.
Very sad that I dropped my boar.
You couldn't quite throw your boar.
Your
There's-
7-foot long boar. That's yeah.
Yeah, there's a look of the map. So I'll have that as a handout for you guys to check out next session.
Awesome.
Well, thanks.
So yeah, so first of course, check out the Greyhawk channel's Patreon. It's a huge help if you like the content. Like I said, there's at least 2 shows every single day. There's a total of 20 shows each week going on throughout the day. There's one right after this in an hour, I believe, is a show following this one. So definitely check out the Patreon. You can support Greyhawk channel that way. And then you get access to some private channels at the Discord to get some additional codes. That's the word. Codes for like Rue Ink and for Cantrip candles. I have some Cantrip candles. They're good candles for sure. And Devin Rue's awesome with her maps that she makes available. So definitely check that out. Check out our Discord. It's like I mentioned before, awesome people there. They'll give you lots of information. Any questions you have about Greyhawk, if they don't know it, they'll look it up for you and get back to you real fast on that. Check out the schedule, the Greyhawk schedule. You can see where all the shows are, what the shows are themselves, get little descriptions of them. So definitely check all that out. And I'll let our awesome players today give a shout out where you can find them, where you can find them on the internet, and what are the things they might do. So we'll start with Derek this time.
Hi everybody, amazing game as always. You can find me on Twitter at dsword16. My name is Derek Sword. Yes, that is my real last name. Yes, it is awesome. No, you can't have it. Looking forward to continue this game. It's been a lot of fun. And yeah, we'll see you next week.
And then Casey.
It's all right. I'm Casey, KCH on social media. I have been your Necro Ninja for this evening, and you can also find me later tonight on the Gratuitous RP channel starting at 9 p.m. for the World of Horin. And then on Fridays at 5 p.m., I'm back here on the Greyhawk channel doing the Old Faith with NPC Bree and the gang. And then again, back to Gratuitous RP. Sundays at 6 p.m. is the Half Red Heroes show. That's where you can find me.
And Leica.
Yeah, I've been Belial Leica. You can find me on Twitter at TimeBust, and I don't really have any shows or anything to plug.
Then Eris.
Hello. I've been Talia. I am actually Eris Savad. You can find me on Twitter at Eris_Savad. You can find the dice bags and trays that I make at erissavad.com, as well as of other stuff. There's a bunch of different website features, including Bardic Inspiration and more. You can actually find me tonight at 7 p.m. Central or 7 p.m. Eastern on Little Red Dot's channel playing Raven Callahan in the Witch Girls campaign on the Witch Girls system. We have a giveaway going. There's a bunch of fun stuff, so check that out. There's going to be more on my Twitter later about that.
And I just made a note to make sure that I fix the overlay for Derek and for apparently for Eris, because it's on there. It says Eris Savad _.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Need to fix that. And I am Great Mustache. Okay. You can find me on Twitter at Great_Mustache and on Twitch at The Great Mustache. You can see some more Open Legend goodness. I also do a few things with some others to go over how to build NPCs and some instructional videos such as that. So yeah, it was a good show. You guys progressed, and now the real meat of your exploration shall begin. All the prologue is now out of the way, pretty much. So
real quick, GM,
yes.
Before we go, can you tell our viewers one more time where to find the Open Legend system for free?
Yes. So Open Legend RPG, you can find it at openlegendrpg.com. https:// all that, and all the rules are available for free online. You can find them all there. You can also decide to purchase a PDF from their store if you want to, but the rules are available for free. There's a lot of awesome community tools available, like Hero Muster that lets you go through character sheets and stuff like that. And there's a Open Legend Discord where people are happy to answer questions about the system itself. So, and you'll find me over there a lot too. So I think that's everything. Anybody think of anything else to mention that I may have forgotten? Well, thank you for all those there's a couple of people who threw out some bits today. I think I mentioned them when they came out. So thanks for that. Divine Favor has moved up some. And we do have Divine Favor for the Open Legend system. It's a little different than the D&D, but I do have that all worked out. So if we do hit that, somebody will be able to benefit from it. So have a good day, and signing out. Bye.